Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back with another cool pinball repair video for you this evening. We have been working on this fantastic Bally Strikes and Spares pinball machine that we picked up a while back. The cabinet is in decent shape. The back glass is in excellent shape. We have it over here out of the way. And we've been doing a lot of the electrical stuff. So if you haven't seen that, we have a playlist set up for this. You can check it all out. We did a video kind of working on the power supply. We did a video working on the solenoid driver board. We did a video installing a brand new all-tech pinball board in it, MPU board in it. And we've got the thing booted up and playing, but we can't play it because the playfield is destroyed. This playfield is really rough. We're going to show you the magic of the magic eraser in this video. And then we're going to attempt to remove the Mylar and clean it up. And then we're going to repaint all of the damage, some of which is under the Mylar. That's why we're removing it. So let me show you the condition that it's in as found, and then we're going to work through it and paint it and clean it up. And at the end of this video, hopefully you'll see a miracle. So the apron here is in pretty good shape. Also, if you look at the lockdown bar receiver, it's not that rough, which usually means that, you know, it's not that bad off. But I don't know what happened with the rest of it. It looks like nobody cleaned it. And if you play a game after it gets dirty and just keep playing it, you're going to cause all kinds of damage. The problem that you run into is, one, if you're using an old pinball, they get rust all over them. See all those little red spots of rust? Well, as that rolls around the playfield, that little spot of rust is going to hit the playfield like 100 times. And the rust is like sandpaper. So it's just going to cause all kinds of problems. It's going to literally eat the paint off the playfield. So an old pinball will do it, but dirt will do it too. If you leave dirty rings on the playfield, they start disintegrating, and you just get stuff like this all over the playfield. Look at that. Filthy. See how it's raised up from the playfield? You can kind of tell. That's like little pieces of rubber off of the rings. See that? See how it looks like it's raised up off the playfield? That's not just like a stain. That is like grime on the playfield, and that's same thing. As the ball rolls over it, you're just going to cause all kinds of problems. Now, something like this is probably something with this kicker. Basically, when the ball would hit this, the kicker would kick it back, and it probably kept making it land in the same spot, and that's how you get that. That's a very common thing. A lot of pinball machines have that. But here's the interesting thing about this particular one. Someone at some point, to stop it from getting worse, has put a piece of Mylar over it. That's like, this is perfectly smooth because that's a piece of Mylar that they've stuck over it after it wore. Well, the problem with that is I can't touch that up. I can't get to it. It's underneath a sticker, basically. Some of these games, they came with that from the factory, and you would not installed though, and they would tell you to install it, and they'd send you those two little pieces with the game. But apparently this operator didn't install it originally, waited till it got damaged, and then installed it, which is fine because it stopped it from getting any worse. But I'm going to have to remove it if I'm going to try to clean it. This side doesn't have that. And then they took another one and put even a little bit crooked right here in the center because they were having problems where the bowling ball was starting to wear. So again, that's under the Mylar. See the reflection going over the top of it? Okay, but then they kept playing it, and the rest of it started to wear. So what's going to happen when we start cleaning this up is a lot of this paint is going to go bye-bye. It's just going to come off, and then we're going to have to repaint it. Now, the Mylar is the biggest pain ever to remove. You got two ways basically to do it. You can heat it up and remove it, or you can freeze it and remove it. But it's really hard on a playfield with this much wear to get it to come off without bringing all the paint off. You can do it on a little bit newer game, like some of the 90s Williams and Bally classics, you know, the really good ones. Yeah, you can remove the stuff. And so people have told us many, many times, oh, just remove the Mylar. Well, you know, it's easier on those. It's not easy on this. You can see that the paint on the playfield is already flaking off. Okay, if I was to take a big piece of duct tape and stick it on that and then pull the duct tape up, I'm going to pull off a bunch of that paint, right? Well, there's your big piece of duct tape. It's just clear. I mean, we're going to have a major freaking mess when we take these off, but we got to do it because it's all screwed up under it. I did one game where I touched up just a little bit of the Mylar by painting on the Mylar. It's an option, but it's not a good option. So we're going to try to remove it. I'm going to let Joe do it. I can't bring myself to do it. But that's the main problems that we've got are right there. Now we've got more wear up here. Got just an incredible amount of dirt there. We've got more Mylar around the pop bumpers, but it's factory, so it's actually, there's no wear under it. See where it stops right there? And then since I didn't continue around this way, it chipped all the paint. And then look at that, someone has repainted some of it already at some point. So we got a lot of work to do on this one. But it's a cool game and it's worth it, so we're going to do it. Also, notice how dirty the plastics are. This is a common thing. It almost looks like they've been in a flood. See all these little red spots all over it? That's how things look after they've been in a flood, but I don't think this one has. The cabinet's too nice. So I don't know. But that will clean right up. You can see more of the red spots here. See all that? All of that will clean up. It'll end up looking really nice. And then the shooter lane itself, if you look, is actually in very nice shape. It's just filthy. They've never cleaned it. But it's in nice shape. There's no damage or anything. Just a completely filthy pinball machine. And them playing it with it filthy like that has really screwed up a lot of the paint. So we got a lot of work ahead of us. So Joey's going to come in and he's going to clean it up as best he can, and we'll see if he can get that Mylar off without completely destroying it. just take the Mylar off, they say. Oh, it's easy. Just heat it up and it comes right off, they say. Oh, I have a special method. I freeze it and it comes off, they say. And then I always say, no, if I take it off, you're going to take a bunch of paint off because this Playfield is old and worn. We got a lot of work to touch up here, people. Look at this crap. Look at this. So basically the problem is, like I was just saying earlier, if you put Mylar on a damaged playfield that's got paint flaking off of it, when you remove that Mylar, you're going to have a big freaking mess. And that's what we got, a big freaking mess. But don't fret. I think we can fix it. So this is how the playfield and the back glass look now that they're cleaned. You know, the back glass, of course, was already in really nice shape. But this is kind of, all of the filth is gone. Joey remarked that he thought the yellow turned out a lot better than he thought it would. I think it looks pretty good too. This is going to look really good when we're done, I think. Just my opinion. You know I'm an optimist. You know. My goal would be to get rid of the appearance that there was Mylar on it. I just hate that look with those half circles. Now, if they're down here and it's not, and they're like either factory or they put them on real early, I always leave them. In general, I leave Mylar because of this. Look at this crap. So I usually leave it, but if it's over heavy wear, you can't leave it. You got to take it off. So here's one piece. You can see the paint just stayed on the Mylar when it decided to come off. And I'm sure all of y'all could have done it better. I didn't do the right technique. Oh no, if you would have held your mouth this way, it would have came right off. And we'd all have, you know, bunny rabbits hopping around in the background. It's almost Easter. Okay, so we're just going to fix it the way we usually fix it. Paint the colors back in. I like that part, you can see where the yellow lines came down. I kind of need to put primer on it, but I don't know. I kind of need to put primer on it, but I hate to lose that area because it shows me exactly where it goes. Let's see. If you look very carefully, the part that is supposed to be yellow is actually the part that's white, which is kind of primered. So you see that yellow paint is over the area that's white. Okay. The lines that are down to bare wood is actually where the black lines were. And black paint doesn't really need primer. But the red kind of does. I don't know, folks. I don't know. It's such a mess. We'll get it, though. So, I've had people tell me recently that I'm way too repetitive. If I've already done it once, why repeat it? It's because that's how I think. That's how my mind works. So what we're going to do, we're going to get acrylic paints that I already have, of course. We're going to get some acrylic paints and we're going to touch this up. I am not going to make it look perfect. I am not going to make it look brand new. I don't have the ability to do that, one. And two, I don't really care for it to look brand new. As long as it looks clean, I'm cool. This is ridiculous. Of course we can't leave it like that. So we got to fix all that. But I'm saying that because I'm not going to fix... Well, I don't know. I might fix that because it's kind of rough. But I'm not going to fix every little problem. You know, I'm going to fix plenty of it, though. Okay, so we're counting colors now, folks. We've got a yellow. But here's the problem you run into with the yellow. Yellow is a very thin color, so it's at least with acrylic paints. And so if you look, that looks like yellow. But in reality, it's yellow paint with a bunch of black dirt ground into it. So all those little cracks are like where the ball, see how they're all circular? It's where the ball has damaged the paint and kind of ground paint down into it. So you saw Joey going over it with a magic eraser. That's how he lightened it up enough that it looks so presentable. That black, those black swirl marks, you can't get all of those off. If you look really close at any old pinball, they've got tons of those. Okay, so you can't get all of that off. So if I paint that yellow, just yellow out of the bottle, it will stand out like a sore thumb because that's not really yellow. It's yellow that's faded and has a bunch of black mixed in with it. So when your eye sees it, it doesn't see straight up yellow. It sees yellow and black mixed in. So it's kind of a gradient, right? So if you paint it just yellow, it'll stand out and you'll notice it. But we got to do yellow. We have to do orange. Orange, knock on metal, usually goes pretty good. We got to do yellow. We got to do orange. We have to do like a blue, this turquoise. Okay. We've got to do red. And we've got to do black and white. So we've got 6 colors. Yellow, orange, red, turquoise, black, and white. The white also isn't really white. It's they've all got the same thing going on where there's black mixed into it. If you just look at any part of the playfield, you can see. Right? They've all got that going on, but the white has actually yellowed over time. So if you put white paint on it, it will stand out like a sore thumb as well. It's not really white. It's like a cream. Now, interestingly enough, if you look up here, this kind of stuff just fascinates me. This is white, and it's right next to a yellow and an orange. So when your eye sees it, it notices that it's yellowed. Your eye is like blending the yellow and the white together, and you're able to pick up that looks more yellowed. And you can see we've got the old light bulbs still in there because we're going to paint and get wax all over everything. So this white has a more warm look. You can tell that it's yellowed over the years. This white looks like a different color white. But the reason it looks like a different color white is because there's a blue turquoise shadow painted on the pin, which makes it look more cool. Like a cool color. C-O-O-L. Like a, you've got warm colors and cool colors, right? So it looks like that white and that white are different, but they're not. They just have different colors surrounding them. So this one your eye thinks looks more warm, and this one your eye thinks looks more cold, just because of the blue. That's fascinating. So we'll get into that here shortly, I guess. I'm trying to decide. I think I just got a primer at first. We just got to go with the primer, people. And then on the yellow lines here, I'm going to go ahead and paint over them because I've got to have a primer under there, and I can lay that out pretty easy. It won't be hard. I've got the top of the bowling ball there that when I draw it back in will show me where the bottom of the lanes are. And I'll look at a picture online to make sure we get that right. And then since we've got these nice straight lines, I can use a ruler to kind of lay them out to where I can see where to put my black lines back. So basically, it's just going to be like a big paint by numbers coloring book with a really bad spot right in the middle. But it'll be just fine. I'm going to touch this up as well. But while I'm doing the colors down there, whenever I have, like when I'm doing the orange, I'll come up here and I'll do whatever I need to do as orange. And then whenever I do the white, I'll do whatever I need to do as white up there as well. So you kind of, you just mix one color at a time and go around and fix all of that. I don't really like doing stuff all over the playfield because when I'm done, you have to clear coat it if it's acrylic paint. And I don't really want to use a spray paint can to clear coat an entire playfield. Not best practice, you know what I mean? So I like just doing like little spots, like you just paint the 8-ball back in and clear coat just that one spot. That would be much more desirable. But if I have to touch up here and here, and all of this, and all of this, and here, and up here, and then way up there. You know, you end up where you're painting almost the entire playfield. So I think maybe we'll do the primer first. What I use for primer is just like they call it buttermilk. It's just a creamy white. We're just trying to get rid of the wood tone, and you don't have to do it on everything. Like this area here that's in the black, it doesn't really need primer. Orange covers pretty well too. You don't really need primer on it, but since we have this big spot here, I'll go ahead and primer it. So you're just trying to get rid of some of this wood tone so that it will more easily accept the paint whenever you put your yellow, your orange.